When it comes to owning a vehicle, maintenance is somewhat important. If you want to keep your car running as good as brand new, or should I just restate, you must do some level of maintenance so that your car can start and get you from A to B. Oil changes, inspections, tire rotations, all of these are necessary so that you don't harm others and you don't harm yourself and your passengers when you drive the vehicle on the road. In this video, I'm going to go over my 2-year maintenance service and how much my wallet is lighter after this service. Hey, it's LSFT here today, and today we're here to go over the 2-year maintenance service for my 2022 Lexus NX450h Plus. So before I talk about the 2-year service, let me quickly go over the service that I've done with my NX. So 30 days after picking up the vehicle, you would get a service called Inspection Service. Typically in that service, the service team would inspect your car to ensure everything is good and nothing is loose, everything is as per spec. And then you can also do personalization of your vehicle, like changing the number of flashes when you press onto the signal or open all the windows with your key fob. And if you have any questions regarding your NX, you can actually get that answered. Then at 6 months into the service, you will actually get service number 1. So service number 1, it checks the installation of the driver floor mat, ensuring that there's only one mat. Then it inspects all lights and horns for proper operation, and then inspects the wiper blades linkage and the washers for proper operation. It checks and records the tire depth, making sure that there's no damage and everything is even wear, and then remove the wheels and visually inspect to make sure that the brake pads, calipers, rotors, brake lines, and hoses are working as expected. They will rotate the tires, and then they'll remove and inspect the cabin air filter. It doesn't mean that they're replacing it. Also, they're going to remove and inspect the engine air filter, and then inspect for any leaks. And then they will actually visually inspect the hybrid battery cooling intake filter, and they'll clean it if required. And then they'll just make all the measurements and then reset the maintenance light. So that is service number 1, and that is done in 6 months. So one thing to note, at 6 months, they actually will not do an oil change, and that is part of the standard maintenance schedule. And if you opt to get an oil change, you would have to tell them that you want an oil change and you want to ensure that your engine is operating at most optimal and that all the debris goes away. All right, so that is critical because part of the Lexus schedule, oil change is not at 6 months. All right, let's move on to service number 2 at 12 months. So service number 2 is very similar to service number 1. So you can see that the first bunch is exactly the same stuff. And in addition, there is like inspect the exhaust system for leaks, damages, or broken hangers, check the steering gear linkage and shock absorbers for any loose or damaged air leakage, inspects the ball joints, inspects for any leaks, and then also inspect the differential and transfer case vents for anything obstructing it. And then you can also see here, it also cleans, if required, the hybrid battery intake filter. It also inspects the drive belts, and then the rest is really the same, other than it also does an oil change. So as part of the Lexus standard maintenance, oil change is actually done at 12 months. All right, this time you don't need to tell them because they will do the oil change as part of service number 2. And now at 18 months, we go back to service number 1. So this one, again, it's another inspection type of service. And this time it's just doing the same. But then again, if you want an oil change, if you want to do a 6 months oil change, go ask them to do an oil change. Okay, this one does not include an oil change. And now finally, we're at the 2-year service. So this is the one that I just recently done. Service number 3. And this is the most expensive and the most, I would say, the things done to your vehicle is enough service number 3. So essentially what it is it's service number 2 plus additional things. So when you look at here, what are the additional things that they will do? So first things first, there is an oil change in service number 3, okay? And then additional things that they will do is that they will inspect the engine oil cooler lines and automatic transmission cooler lines to check if there's any leakage, anything that's loose, or if there's any damage. In addition, they will also inspect the brake lines and the hoses and ensure that everything is good. And then on top of that, they will also inspect the fuel system for any leakage or damage and just checking everything, making sure that is all good. On top of that, it will also inspect the drive belts and adjust the tension if required. And also, they will inspect the valve clearance and also perform a 12-volt battery health check. And on top of service number 3, they will actually require you to do a brake fluid replacement. All right, so that is also part of the 2-year maintenance service. Follow me on Instagram at LSFTvideos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX450h Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now let's continue with the video. So first things first, as part of extended warranty that I purchased when I bought my car, I do get 3 years of service included as part of that purchase. So service number 3 and that brake fluid change is included, and in air quotes, I've already paid for it as part of that extended warranty purchase. All right, so there is no cost for those items. So you can see as part of the invoice, my description says ECP service number 3. And you can see that the amount on the right side, there is no cost. So warranty oil change, and you can see that maintenance service number 3. So that's the first thing that was done to my vehicle. And you can see the output of the service number 3. It set the tires to number 1. It tells me my summer tires are whatever millimeters thread left, and the run flat has whatever pressure. And then winter tires, what is left in the tread, and it's bagged in the back of the car. And then they said the air filter was checked, the cabin filter was checked, and everything's good in the wiper fluids and all that. My 12-volt battery that was replaced, 12.34 volts, 542 cranking amps. So the battery is good and that the load test has passed. Then it tells me my brakes. My front brakes are 10 millimeters and the rear brakes are 7.5 to 8 millimeters. Isn't that a little bit interesting, right? Well, they said that the brakes had rust accumulation and the rotors were resurfaced because it seemed like there were some rust because of me not stepping on the brakes enough, and because of the hybrid brakes, the regen, the brake pads really aren't used as much. A little bit more on the brakes down below. We'll reach there soon. All right. So for the folks who actually have 2 sets of winter tires and winter tires, if you go in with a service and you bring your tires in, there's actually no cost to get the tires swapped out. All right. But if you actually just went in to do a swap, they will charge you $199.95 per hour to get that swapped out. So if you do time it properly, you can actually get them to have a pre-mounted tires swapped without having additional charges to you. And I really don't know if this will continue, but at this point, the dealer, like the service department, just keeps on grabbing more money, right? So at this time, it's still a perk. If not, it's actually $109.95 plus tax to do a tire swap. Then the next item is just to reset the reminder light. I'm hoping that they don't charge you for that because that is part of service number 3. And then the next item is to replace the brake fluid. So for me, this is part of the ECP, my extended warranty, so I don't have to pay for this. But if you're paying for this, it will be $229.95 plus tax. All right. So this item is $230, and they will flush out the brake fluid and get new brake fluid into your vehicle. All right. Then the next item is something that's, you can say, is optional. So it is a 4-wheel alignment just to ensure that your car is aligned properly and they've adjusted to whatever is needed, and that costs $210 plus tax. I did get a 10% discount on that, meaning it's $190 plus tax. All right. Again, if they do offer you this, you do not need to get it done. All right. I'm just doing this for the courtesy of making sure that my car is running as optimal as possible. And again, the service advisor was treating me well, and I'm thinking, okay, let's get it done. But again, once you start getting to know what other things you need to get done, you really need to think about, is it necessary or is it not? All right. If you do feel that your car is moving to one side, meaning you're hitting the potholes a little bit too much, and you may want to get a wheel alignment, you can get it done there, or you can go to a mom and pop shop and get it done. It does not need to be done at Lexus. All right, the next two items, you can see program TPMS with service. It's $60 plus tax. Make sure, once you've got your second tire TPMS set up, you do not need to pay $60 plus tax. Okay, you can see it's $0 here. I actually opted not to do it, and make sure you don't do it, because once you have your set 1 and set 2 programmed into the vehicle, you do not need them to go and switch that setting and get charged $60 plus tax. All right, this is one of the items you make sure when you do your service that don't pay for the TPMS setup. Okay. If you install the tire first time, they will need to register and program it to the car. That time you have to pay for it. But after that, once you do their swaps, you do not need to pay the $60. Okay? All you need to do is go to the settings and change it from set 1 to set 2, and you're good. All right, so then the next one is the Lexus vehicle inspection. That comes with every single service you do with them. There is no charge on that piece. And then the next item there is the rental vehicle. So I did get a rental vehicle so that I can drive home, do my work, and when the car's ready, I go back and get my car. And the last item on the list is the most expensive thing that was done, the 4-wheel brake service, and it's $400. So meaning, what is it? It's 2 hours of work. I'm not sure if it's 2 hours of work, but that's what's been quoted. So again, if you saw in the service 3, it did talk about rust buildup on the rotors, and they were going to machine it and then also level up my brake pads to make sure that they're all the same width. So with that being said, that is being done. It is an expensive thing, and this is a common issue on hybrids and EVs because a lot of our braking is through regenerative braking, and you don't really slam on the brakes that often, and meaning you're not actually going and removing the rust off the rotors. This happens very frequently when you are done with a car wash or in the winter where there's a lot of moisture in the air. That's where the rust will build up. So it's important that one thing to do, and it really is lessons learned, is from time to time, especially after car wash, a day after car wash, or in the winter, slam on that brake a little bit more. Let the brakes actually go and get the rust off the rotors. So then you can save $400 when you actually go do your service. So you had seen that the brake service replacement was about $200-ish, And then what they told me was the total of Service 3 with the brake fluid replacement, it's about $800. So if that includes that, including all this other charges, is about $1,400 for this service. But including this time, I have the extended warranty, so that $800 is not part of this number, but still, out the door, it was $623. So I know some of you would say, you didn't need to do the alignment. You didn't need to do the brake service. You can do that all yourself. Well, again, I'm not a mechanic myself. I'm not a handyman in what shape or form. I know what to do, but as a brake service, I don't have the tool service to do that. And really, after they've done the brake service, definitely I did feel that the brakes were much better. So one lesson learned is, if I really want to ensure that the brakes don't rust, especially in the winter, or especially after rain, stomp on the brakes a little bit more so that it actually would rub off that rust and it will not build up and cause other problems. I have done a lot of regen braking, and maybe that's one reason why those brakes were just rusting as winter comes, and when the salt comes in, it just keeps on eating to the brake pads. It is what it is, but hopefully next time I would not need to do this payment. But again, even so, service number 3 with the brake fluid change, it's about $800. I don't know if that's before tax or after tax, but if you've done the service and you've paid for it, let me know in the comments below. How much is this service and how much did you pay? I'm sure that I could have got away with not doing the alignment, and even this brake service I could have opted not to do, but I don't know what will happen if the brakes continue to rust and things were not done. And again, it's still 2 years old, but once it gets to a certain point, maybe things will not get done. Or I even told the service advisor, because of the cost, like $200 an hour charge, in future, maybe some of these service I will not do. I will actually go to a mechanic and actually get them to do it at a lower cost. But again, cars still under warranty, don't want something to happen where they say that, oh, you've done it outside and now a warranty cannot be claimed. In some ways, you're boxed in, but I know some of you would say you've been scammed, you've been done, like you shouldn't have to pay this much money, but it is what it is. And over the 2 years of owning this vehicle, this is essentially really the first time I've paid to do maintenance. So 2 years paying $623 and not really paying for all the previous service, in air quotes, I paid for it as part of the extended warranty. I think it's actually okay. But then when you start thinking about how much will it all cost, okay? Service number 1, how much does that cost? I've never paid for it, so I don't know exactly what it is. But I'm going to make an assumption. Let's say it costs $200 to do that service number 1. And then service number 2, let's say it's going to be $400. Okay, and then service number 3, it's $800. So when you look at that, how much is it going to cost for 2 years? We're talking about $1,600 plus taxes, roughly $1,800. So that's about $900 of maintenance you pay for every year. Is that a lot? Not really, but again, some people would say that's expensive. Some would say you can bring it to a Toyota and they'll get it serviced at a lower cost, a lower hourly rate. Yes, definitely that can happen as well. Things have gone up so much that it just starts to feel unreasonable when it comes to the cost at an hourly rate. I went back to my old invoices from the same dealership and looking at the hourly rate. So in 2015, the hourly rate was $145. 2016, it went up to $149. 2017, it maintained at $149. 2018, it went up to $157. 2019, it went up to $160. Then 2020, it maintained it at $160. And then 2021, it went up to $168. And then 2022, it gone to $179.99. 2023, it was $189.95. So now 2024, it is $200. So $55 an hour increase over the 10 years. I wish my salaries were actually the similar increase as well, but unfortunately, I don't think that's happening. Looking at this trend, 2025, are we talking about $209.95? Increasing $10 per year? I really don't know. But getting to a point where, do I need you guys to give me more super thanks so that I can actually afford going to get the service done at a dealership? I think it's getting a bit ridiculous. Let me know in comments below, what do you think? Do you think the dealerships are actually overcharging, or is it just supply and demand? I know that there was shortages of mechanics, and they actually have to get, the salaries of mechanics are getting higher and higher year over year. I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.